What is up, guys? So today we are going to inform you on the topic of ocean pollution. Since summer is right around the corner and 7 times out of 10 you're probably going to spend the summer somewhat by waters, why not inform you on how important it is to pick up after yourself and always recycle plastic? Yes, people, we are bringing it back to elementary school when we learned our 3 important R's: reuse, reduce, and recycle. Obviously, we are all aware and know that we should recycle, but most of us don't. And did you know that most waste ends up in our marine ecosystem? So my group conducted a survey to other peers on the topic of recycling, and the first question was if they recycled, in which 80% voted yes and 20% voted no. The second question was, do you believe recycling helps the environment? Which 98% voted yes and 2% had voted no. The next question was, did you know that landfills will become too toxic if items such as styrofoam, batteries, etc. are not recycled? In which 60% had answered yes and 40% had answered no. Our fourth question was, do you know what the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is? In which 49% voted yes and 51% had voted no. And our last question was, did you know that plastic pollution affects the minimum of 700 marine species and at least 100 million marine mammals are killed every year? In which 51% voted yes and 49% had voted no. When the writer Michelle Kelly was asked where does most of the plastic waste go, in her article, Why We Need to Wake Up and Do Something, she states almost 80% of the plastic ends up in the ocean. She also states that plastic never fully biodegrades, and instead, plastic photodegrades, meaning that it breaks down under UV light into smaller and smaller pieces to the microscopic level. This becomes hazardous for bottom feeders, such as phytoplankton, which do help partially with photosynthesis. And next, we asked Mr. Alagi, how can companies that incorporate plastic help with this issue?
I guess they could recycle more plastic, use recycled plastic to make their products. If there's a way to make plastic biodegradable, that would be awesome. I don't know if there is.
That'd be good.
Yeah, but I mean, it still gets broken down into little tiny bits.
Our next question was, how do you think we could bring more awareness to this economic situation?
Well, I mean, I guess a lot of it has to do with, what we're concerned about. I mean, we're not by the ocean, so we don't see it every day. So maybe, give more examples of what's happening in different places that we might not know about. And just keep that in people's minds. And, don't just say you have to pay 10 cents, but give some reasons why. And this is what we're doing with it. This is how we're protecting, the sea otter or whatever it is.
The turtles.
Yeah. Because I remember when they had like the 6-packs, and they had the plastic rings, and they show pictures of the birds with it around their neck, and it'd be really bad. So that was pretty good. That got your attention.
Okay. It's weird. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we asked Coach Mack, what should we do differently to help preserve the environment?
I think, and I don't think it'll ever go back, but I think if we went back to like when I was a kid, there were no Tupperware, plastic things. You had your stuff like in containers that were glass containers. You took care of them, and then you brought them back, and you used the same things over and over again. It wasn't a mindset of use something and discard it. And so, because when you discard something, it takes up space and something happens with it. Also, I think these are one of the great things. People start to drink these, because if you drink, let's say 2 of these at 64 ounces, what is that? 4? Is that? Four bottles, then you're not, are not going to have to be recycled or be used as waste. So I think those are the things we could do is just, look at things and say, are they sustainable? There's too many people now, and if we continue to use products that can't be, aren't biodegradable, then it's going to hurt our world for sure.
And lastly, we interviewed Mr. Razi and asked him why recycling is so important.
Well, okay. Recycling is the third thing that's important. The first two are reduce, and then if possible reuse, and then instead of just throwing it away in the regular trash can, you recycle those things that can be mostly plastic, but other stuff too that can be reused.
Our last question was, what would you want to do to get more people to recycle?
Well, I'm a teacher, so I'm teaching kids about that. Just be a good example. You know, whether you're in your neighborhood, your job, do your best every day. Teach your kids. You know, just wherever you can, be a good model for the people around you, whether it's family or friends. And every little bit counts. You know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is also another reality check on plastic pollution. This is a big patch between Hawaii and California, and it covers a surface area of 1.6 million square kilometers, which is twice the size of Texas. A reporter stated as more and more plastics are discarded into the environment, microplastic concentration in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch will only continue to increase. In the year 2013, as many as 50% of sea turtles were ingesting plastic, and most of them began dying because of how fast they were ingesting it. And at least 100 million marine mammals are killed each year from plastic pollution. So whether you spend your summer indoors or outdoors, remember how important it is to reuse, reduce, and recycle, especially around coastal waters. Remember how important it is to preserve and protect our marine life.